So I'm
Cool.
going to hit record and then okay. So the recorder's on. So whenever you're ready, go ahead
Okay.
and give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, we'll try it again. It's no big deal.
That sounds great. Okay. This is Dr. Ashley Smith from drashleysmith.com and Peak Mind, the Center for Psychological Strength. And you are listening to Vroom, Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith, reminding you that your mind can be your most valuable asset or your biggest liability, and you get to choose. Make the right choice and live a bold, happy life.
Nice. Wow. Bam.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. You've done this before. Okay.
A time or two. Yeah. I like to speak. It's like, give me a microphone and let me just go. And I just have so much fun. So I'm excited to be here because I like talking to people and
Yeah. I get it. I think we're on the same vibe.
I would imagine.
Let's enjoy the groove. Okay. Let me hit stop and I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Covey. Thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer and welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
It is going fantastic. Thank you so much for having me here.
Any day you're not having heart surgery is a good day, I think, for Danny Covey.
That is a very good day, and that's 100% true.
Never having zero heart surgeries, I can't relate, but yikes. Okay, so you are at DannyCovey.com and talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business today.
All right. Well, if you visit my site, you will find a book that I've recently written.
Right.
And that book basically describes what I call my open heart journey. And my open heart journey consists of having 8 heart surgeries and in the middle of all that, somehow deciding I'm going to earn a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu.
That's pretty crazy.
So the book came out last year. I'm actually getting ready to do a second printing of it already.
Oh, wow. Good for
and
you.
So it's my story, my open heart journey. I think people will love it. It's really resonated with people who've listened to it and read it so far. So I'm very excited about it.
It sounds like fun. I might check it out. Fun is a bad word, isn't it? Inspiring.
Well, and inspiring fun. Sure. We'll go with that.
Hey, you're alive.
It's fun to be alive. I will just leave it at that.
In the end, it was fun. So,
Yes.
Okay. So I want to get to the jiu-jitsu part because I have a good friend, shout out Alfie, who forever was one belt below black in one of the many schools. I think he started out in one school and then switched. But anyway, recently, I think within the last year or so, he got his black belt in jiu-jitsu. And let me tell you, he stayed a brown belt forever. So getting to black belt is no easy feat. So congratulations.
It's a journey. Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Congratulations. It's a big deal. And then that wasn't good enough. So then I think he started doing judo and he got a blue belt in judo. So now he's working on judo. So I'm like, you go, MMA guy. You got to have at least 2, apparently.
Yeah, one is often enough, but not always.
Well, he likes it. I'm all about like, hey, anything you can do that's not Netflix is probably really good for you.
Exactly.
Not that there's anything wrong with a little Netflix, but too much is bad, I think. Okay, so let's go back in time, talk about Danny Covey. Do you remember like your being Danny before you ever had a surgery?
Sadly, no. So I grew up with scars on my body.
Wow.
And I didn't know how they got there. I'd heard stories or the stories a parent would tell the child about how these scars got there.
Yeah.
But no, my memories, my surgeries predate my memories.
Wow. Okay. Got it. So like, I think my earliest memory was, I think I was like 4 maybe. And
Okay.
then like there was the last kid in the neighborhood turned 5 and went to school. And I was really bummed because there were no kids left to play with anymore.
Man,
I was severely bummed for a while.
those are hard times right there.
Well, thankfully, some new kids moved in.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And one of them
No,
was
actually,
really close to my age. So
actually, I have to say my earliest memory is 2 years old.
wow.
And it was
wow.
literally, I took my parents' car for a joyride. I climbed into the front seat, pulled the gear shift. The car had rolled back,
Whoa.
hit the neighbor's house, and caved in the front of his house and was hanging in his basement.
Way to go, man.
That's my first and earliest memory.
Well done.
Started with a bang.
Good job. Now, so you remember that? What do you remember about it?
I remember crying and getting out of the car and running home.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's memory number one right there.
Wow. That's huge. That is huge.
Yeah.
So like when I was a baby, so I don't remember this, but like my parents took me camping and I apparently was like let out of the cage and rolled down a beachy hill and then fell into some water.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean,
Why-
not a lot of water. Like
Why did your parents have you in a cage?
not a cage, you know.
Okay.
I'm being a jerk here, you know. What do we call cages instead of cages? I think it was a playpen.
Playpen. There we go. Okay. That sounds a little better.
Yeah, my dad kept me in a cage. Came home from work, put me in the cage and grabbed me some dirt.
Yeah. And was he really pushed down the hill or did he fall down the hill?
Yeah, so I have zero memory of that. So apparently that roll was just fun.
Yeah. You
Right.
came out all right though, so that's good.
I came out all right. I actually have a story of miracle birth that I have no memory of. So when I was born, I had a bunch of things wrong with me, and I don't remember all of them, but I know there was a heart murmur. I was anemic. That's a really funny story because I didn't know what the word anemic meant when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I thought that I was anemic and not a human, if that makes sense. Like a Vulcan or a Klingon.
But that makes the story better. That makes the story
Totally.
so much better.
Totally. I'm anemic. I'm not a human. I'm from planet Nemic. Anyway. Yeah, so I got baptized twice because they thought I was going to die. My parents brought me home, and apparently I didn't turn blue, but my eyes rolled into the back of my head and I was convulsing. So they like quickly brought me back to the emergency room and had me like baptized once or twice. The stories vary, but I lived.
Wow.
Everything
Well,
got better.
Yeah.
No heart surgeries.
That's good. That's a good day right there.
But anyway, that was always part of the story of my origin. But anyway, so when did the first surgery happen? How old were you?
So I had a small heart procedure at 11 months old, and then my
11
first
months. Wow.
yeah, my first full-blown open heart surgery at 18 months old.
My goodness.
Yeah, so it was a lot, and those I don't remember.
Right.
But my second open heart surgery was when I was 8, and
Okay.
from my experience, that's the first one I remember. But
Right,
it was
right.
technically my third operation.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So can you like layman term, like describe what was wrong with your heart?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you and I were twins. I had a heart murmur as well.
Okay. Yours
But-
turned out bad.
Yes, I had basically what's called supravalvular mitral stenosis, which I had a problem with my mitral valve,
Okay.
and it was leaking.
Okay.
And then I also had subaortic stenosis, which was kind of like a stricture or a pinching on my aortic valve.
Okay.
And it just meant I wasn't getting enough blood, and it was causing me to pass out and turn blue and not breathe for extended periods of time.
That's not good.
It wasn't good.
You need to do all those things to stay alive.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah. People who breathe tend to live longer. So yeah.
And people who pump blood tend to live longer. Yes.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was it like as an 8-year-old? Like, what were the circumstances of before? Did you have a lot of like prep time, or did it happen in an emergency kind of scenario?
No, I would say I had prep time. I had grown up always being told, don't push your heart too much. You've had heart problems. And every year
got
I would
scars. Okay, look.
Exactly.
You can't run.
What's this? By the way, what's this?
Right.
But my cardiologist, as I was growing as a 7 and 8-year-old, he said, let's do what's called an angiogram, catheterization. Let's just see how your heart is doing.
Okay.
And when they did that test, then they discovered, there's a major problem with your heart. So they set a surgery date a few months after that.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I think the value is like I had time to mentally prepare rather than just we're rushing you to the ER.
Yeah.
But
That's a big
still
difference.
as a kid, that was tough.
I don't know what's better, tell you the truth. I don't like if it had been an emergency, it would have been a shock, but it would have been a different experience. Who knows?
Yeah,
You had
I
2
think-
months to worry about it as well.
Yeah, but I think it's good because you have time to prepare mentally. You can at
Right.
least, and I liken it to, okay, you leave for work, you come home and oops, there's a baby.
Right.
But in reality, you've got 9 months to get used to the idea. So I think
right.
there's value in having that mental time.
Totally. Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, for sure. Okay. So you survived the 8-year-old experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when does jiu-jitsu come into the picture?
So as a kid, I remember sitting in a hospital bed, watching Jackie Chan,
Yeah.
watching Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
and I was absolutely blown away. I was mesmerized
Yeah.
because these guys were doing things that I would never be able to do.
Yeah.
And so I had a surgery at 8, 13, or 8, 12, 13. And then at 14 years old, I had a mechanical valve put in my heart.
Okay.
When that valve went in, my quality of health skyrocketed. It went really well. And suddenly at age 14, I somehow convinced my parents I want to start doing karate.
Okay.
And so that martial arts journey for me really started when I was about 14.
And it was because you had this new mechanical valve that just gave you
Yeah.
a better quality of life and better blood flow, and you could
Yes.
actually like breathe long enough to like do stuff.
Yeah.
So
and
like
so
that sounds like your AD BC AD kind of like quality of life.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was wild. And the one caveat was my parents said, look, you can do martial arts, but we don't want you competing in tournaments, which understand. Like that was
Yeah,
fine. I was
true.
just happy
Too much
to train.
stress. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But still, okay. So you start the martial arts journey age 14. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a weird question, but like what kind of kid were you? Like at 14, you're in high school. So you're like a nerd, you're like a academic. What are you?
So I will tell you exactly who I was.
Okay. You were Danny, but
Do you remember do you remember gym class?
yes.
And they're picking teams and there's that kid that gets picked last.
Yes.
Okay, that wasn't me. I wasn't even in gym class. I never even met my gym teacher. I was just the kid who was excused from gym class because I couldn't do it. So I was that kid, the one you never knew.
Okay. The one that had he been there, nobody would have picked him, but he wasn't there.
Yeah. But I like to draw.
Okay.
I was friends with a lot of people, but I didn't really fit in exclusively. I certainly was not a jock.
Right.
I was not a nerd. So I was just kind of chilling.
Chilling?
I was friends with a lot of people, but I was never exclusive to any group.
Okay. Yeah. I was, I think I fit in best with nerds,
Okay.
but not like super academic nerd, more like the Dungeons and Dragons nerd.
Okay, now I got you.
Yeah,
I can see you in my school.
but I was also a little bit like you. Like I was a little bit had that ambassador vibe. Like I
Yes.
had some jock friends. I had some definite stoner friends. I had
Yeah.
my friends, right?
Yeah.
The close core of, we were actually computer gaming nerds too.
Okay.
Yeah. So did you ever get into computers at all when you were a kid, or was that
My kind of escape was
the
drawing
drawing?
and
Okay.
video. If I had a video
Okay.
camera, I was just filming
Ah,
action
yeah,
movies.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I was
yeah.
that guy. Yeah.
Ah, man, we had one of my buddies' parents had one of those Super 8s.
Yes.
That was awesome. They were really
Yeah.
dumb and funny.
And
No
and
sound. No sound.
kids today will never understand. Like we have a phone in our pocket, we can record anything at any time. But
Right.
those were like treasures. They were sort of rarities. If you had a camera, even a big one, it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's weird because I just went like this last year. I guess it was last year or earlier this year. Yeah. I went out and dug up all the old VHS tapes. And then I went and bought a VHS player at a garage sale because I didn't have a VCR anymore. I had all these tapes, right? And I was like, A, I'm never going to watch them. And B, what the hell am I going to? I want to see those videos.
Yes.
So now they're all on YouTube. And I
wow.
forced my mom and dad to watch most of them.
For all the world to see.
And my dad complained a little bit. It's like, do we have to watch them all? I'm like, yeah, we can fast forward. It's okay. We'll fast forward. But yes, I mean, I got one of those big full-size camcorders with a full-size VCR, like in the late 80s.
Oh, wow.
Like
You were high tech.
88, 89, 90. I had one of those. Right. Just for fun. I was in Japan. I was in the Air Force. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to want to remember this shit. Look at me. I have hair. I'm thin. This doesn't last forever.
No, it does not. It
Actually ends really soon. So I have all those things. Look there I am. I look like I could be in a boy band. Isn't that funny? But you're right. It's like I went through an evolution of video camcorders. And then there's this big, huge gap, right? And I think that was the invent of the phone with the camera built in. Nobody does videos anymore.
No.
No, why? It's not even fun or interesting or anything, unless you go into like full on production mode, right? I'm gonna make a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like occasionally I'll do like a little bit, like if there's like a waterfall or something that looks cool moving, but I'll only do like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I'm now well aware of the fact that just putting a camera on is not like, you're going to end up fast forwarding that for a lot.
Yeah. We were at a fireworks show not long ago, and I just shook my head. Beautiful fireworks. But the girl sitting in front of us had her phone up the entire time, just recording.
Not watching.
And I thought, not watching. She's watching the fireworks through the phone. I'm like, just enjoy the moment.
Try being here. Yeah.
Yes.
You can find your own, like, she's never going to watch that video.
No.
But she's never going to be in that moment again.
No.
So I'm with you. I'm with you. Like you have to bring some intention to making a video, I think.
Yes.
And
it's not just to
make it
capture
short.
the moment. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Keep it short.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a still photo is better. I'm going to come out against fireworks because I think they're dumb.
All right. Do tell. Do tell.
Actually, I've been through this experience, I'm 55 now, of like going, like, you're a kid, you're like, yay, let's go see the fireworks. And then like going, ooh, who cares? It's the same, right? I'm over fireworks. And then, cause I didn't want to deal with traffic, crowds, yada, 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 to sit there and see something I've seen a million times, right? That I don't really care about.
So it's getting to the fireworks.
It's getting to the fireworks. And then
that makes sense.
Getting home from the fireworks that I didn't like.
That makes sense.
Flash forward to, this is the first time since we moved to Vegas because we moved here in 2017, that I was actually home in my house on the 4th of July, right?
Wow.
Usually we were going somewhere like, oh, let's go here or let's go here because, you got a day off. Go somewhere, right? It's like a long weekend kind of thing. We'll go see family. We'll go see friends. We'll go, to the beach or whatever, and usually blow off the fireworks. but we're there for the day off, But this year we were home, and I heard the fireworks, and I was like, well, let me go see what I can see. And I had an awesome time. Wow. I didn't have to drive or find parking. I was already drunk. And I just
so they looked even better.
Yeah. And I had like a 360 view of all of the legal and illegal fireworks in the Vegas Valley from my house.
Nice. Yeah. See, they're good. It's just getting to them. That's
exactly.
The tough part.
Yeah.
Yes.
It made it all better. I was like, this is awesome. Everybody come to my house. There's plenty of parking. Bring your own beer. Anyway, so we digress. How the hell did we get on fireworks?
I don't know, but here we are.
Here we are. That's right. Okay. So, all right. So you're a nerd. You like to draw. You like to make videos. Okay. So what were you thinking after high school? Were you on the college prep train or were you on the career English kind of thing?
It's funny. There was a time when, because I've had so many surgeries, I almost felt like I owed it to medicine to become a doctor or to get into that field.
Okay.
In a way of giving back.
Right.
But then I hated the sciences. I was not exceptionally gifted in
math or science.
None of that.
Right.
But I love to draw. So I kind of struggled. Where do I go? And I ended up going into art and getting a master's degree in art. So I went that route. And I think about all the patients that I've saved by not becoming a doctor. And that is a true story.
It is a true story. Yes.
I would have had great bedside manner, but man, I'd have a lot of lawsuits on my hands.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Lots of not so satisfied patients.
Exactly.
Well, good for you. Wow. All right. So you end up getting a master's. What is that? The MFA? Is that what they call that?
There's a Master of Fine Art and then there's a Master of Art. I stuck it out for 2 years and got my Master of Arts.
Okay.
Master of Fine Art would have been 3 years and I was calling it quits. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong. So what did you end up doing with that job wise? Anything?
Well, a little bit of everything. I worked in graphic design. I do marketing. Oh, yeah. I've done digital illustration, traditional illustration. I've taught art on and off for about 20 years.
Oh, you're a teacher?
Yeah, part-time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I've done a little bit of everything. As long as it's creative,
right?
Like if you're doing video production or graphic design, it's all the same principles, and it's scratching that same itch. You get to do something to create something.
Yeah. You have to like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in your bones or it's not.
Right. Because I used to think I might have that. Right. So I went through this. You remember, you might be old enough to remember this, or you might be a little too young. There was this thing called the Amiga computer.
Yes.
And it had a video toaster that was very popular when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like that show Babylon 5 was rendered on a video toaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember watching that and thinking, this is so cool, this is amazing?
Because of that, yes. Because I went and looked at those and I was like, I can't believe they used an Amiga computer to do this. I'm sure it was like a very, very beefy Amiga computer. But wow, that like inspired me to at least want to know what a video toaster was and did. Yep. Turns out I got a chance to do that when I was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And it's not fun and it's tedious and I hated it. But I did it for a week and I came out of that little black room so pissed off going, man, okay, thank you, God. Now I know I don't like doing that.
Well, it's funny you say that. My oldest son is into renovations and carpentry,
Okay.
and he watches me. He's like, "Dad, you just sit at a computer all day."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, but my mind is free. Like I'm firing and going here."
Right.
And he's like, "I would die if I had to do that."
Right. Yes.
So different strokes.
Yeah.
Different folks.
Like
Yeah.
I am a little bit like your son, I think, is like I've got like restlessness in my bones. So that means like if I want to sit at a computer, I can do that. I can focus, but not for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like if the first thing I want to do after I record an hour-long podcast is, save the file and then get up and walk around and do something else.
Yes.
Yes. So I get it.
What did you do in the Air Force?
I was you remember MASH?
Yes.
So I was a little bit like Radar O'Reilly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like, we started out as administrative specialists, which is basically what they called in the Army, the clerk typist.
Okay.
But then like, I would say about the 10-year mark of a 20-year career, the people in the career field were like, we got to do something about this because we can't see this remaining a career field in the future as is, because everything's like moving towards like all of the jobs are going on the computer.
Yes.
So we're increasingly more computer people now. Right. So that was a bit of a shakedown. Right. I was already a nerd. I was a computer nerd. So I'm like all in. I'm like, yes, please. More computers, but a lot of people in the career field were like, get me out of here, Yeah. So I enjoyed that transition. So I ended up being, when I retired, I was in charge of a small network shop. We had our own network and I was actually like being able to use all of that computer geekiness that I had since, pre-high school.
So you had a lot of creative freedom in that realm to kind of
totally
use things. That's awesome.
Totally. Yeah. I could tell stories about having fun. That was like, still is like the most rewarding job I've ever had. Cause I was in charge. So that meant I only had to do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Kind of, until that lasted for a little while until it was over. Then they gave me a whole nother job and I didn't get to do anything fun ever again until I retired. But that's another story. But
Ouch.
yes, I could just like, there was this, I don't know how nerdy you are, but we had a voicemail server break. Right. And so all the people out there that don't have voicemail are really mad and butthurt about not having a voicemail server. So, I treat it like an emergency right away. And I called Avaya was the company that provided the service. And I was like, I need a new voicemail server. And they're like, you're overdue on your maintenance for your contract. I'm like, so you need some money. I didn't even know that was my job, right? That was one of those, how much do I need? And they told me, and I was like, okay. So I had to go out and find that money, tell the boss, tell the, everybody. And that doesn't happen overnight. So that took months. Right. So I went and said to my boss at the time, I said, how much heat are you under for me to get this voicemail server back up? Because it's not going to be fast. And he's like, 0. And I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, because like the colonels don't care. They don't answer their own phone. They don't even know there was voicemail, right? They've got people that do that, right? So yes, all the folks that don't have voicemail anymore are really, really mad. It's just my boss didn't care. If that makes any kind of sense, right? So if my boss doesn't care, I don't give a shit, right?
There you go.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So eventually the money showed up and I got to go install that server, right? And they were like, well, we can send you the server, but until we get the check in the mail, we can't deploy somebody out to install it for you.
Oh,
but it's not hard. You can probably figure it out. And that was the amount of instruction I got. I got the server and I was like, we'll probably not make it work, but let's just go plug it in. Right. So we went down there, we plug it in and I find this It's probably less than a full sheet of paper of instructions. And we got it going that day. I know.
Wow.
I know.
That's impressive.
No, it was just really easy.
You're not supposed to say that part out loud.
It sounded like it was impressive, but it was just a really well-designed server situation, and it was so super easy, And then I didn't even know there was a backup, and there was a backup. It took me like 30 seconds to figure out what to type in to restore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was perfect, and it was done. That was That was really fun. Yeah. See, so that is totally computer creative. It's like,
yes,
I'm not even planning to make this work, and it worked the same day, just by luck.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's fine, it's about finding your element and finding where you can shine, where you can grow, and that's
right. No, that was just luck. I can't take any credit for. I mean, yes, I know how to turn a screwdriver, kinda. I know. I've been around computers long enough to be able to read instructions and execute, right? But yeah. Anyway, we digress. That was fun.
It was.
So let's see. So you ended up I looked at your website, and your creative stuff is really neat, especially the lighting a fart on fire was hilarious.
Don't try that at home.
Don't try it for real. How's that sound? But yes, make a very funny photograph with flame flying out of your butt. That's great.
Yeah, no, story about that. My wife and I, the first year we were married, we thought we need to be responsible and send out Christmas cards to people.
Oh, wow.
So we went to Walmart, we bought cards, we sent out a card, and we got the exact same card back from 3 other people.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so, yeah. And then we thought, well, you know what? If we're going to hear from people once a year or let them know, these need to be memorable.
Right.
So we started making unique cards. And then as we had kids, our kids got involved. So it's just spiraled into this thing that we've been doing for almost 25 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I do like a holiday newsletter.
Yeah.
It's more fun than just a card, and people actually keep them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's like something that is neat. It's like, oh, look at one of my relatives had them all. I'm like, I might have lied.
Well, hopefully you didn't say anything bad about them in your newsletter.
No. It was just weirded out. It's like somebody's collecting these.
Yeah, we have people, we've gone to their house and they collect all of our Christmas cards from
now
the
yours
years.
I can understand because you're putting in a creative effort. We're literally just making a newsletter. I mean, it's like clip art, and fonts, right? It's nothing fancy. I put more effort into the words and trying to be mildly funny.
Yeah.
Usually doesn't work. Anyway, so I digress. Okay, so you do jiu-jitsu. Does that continue? Obviously continued because you got a black belt.
Yeah. So when I was doing karate as a teenager, life happened. I went to college, got married. And then in my 30s, I thought, man, I've just got this drive. I want to get back into it. And so I did jiu-jitsu and did that for about 3-4 years.
Okay.
And then in 2017, jiu-jitsu started getting really hard to do.
I see.
And I was out of breath. And so I had a checkup, I had a CT scan done, and my aortic arch was enlarged.
Okay.
So that kind of put jiu-jitsu on hold for a little bit.
Right.
While I went and had an aortic aneurysm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you had that, put that on your calendar.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So what isn't, that doesn't sound like a good thing?
No. So I noticed like walking, training was getting really hard. I was covered in bruises. And so I had surgery scheduled, open heart surgery to repair my aortic arch. It had really ballooned.
Okay.
And then when I had the surgery, as soon as they opened me up, my arch had already burst. So it became an emergency surgery just to save my life.
Wow. Okay.
And that was in 2017.
Started out being what was supposed to be a routine. No, that's hardly routine, but like at least scheduled. How's that?
Yes, scheduled. It was routine for cardiac surgery, I would say. Like, hey,
Okay.
you've got this problem. We're going to go in and fix it. We've got
Right.
a plan. But that all went out the window like
Right.
10 minutes into the surgery.
Right. It's like when you say hut in a football game. It's like, yeah, we had a plan.
Exactly.
Till that aneurysm changed. It's like getting sacked.
Yeah. So anyway, I had that surgery. That was a pretty major surgery, and one I almost died. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here talking to you, but literally, humanly speaking, I shouldn't be here.
Right.
But
got
I
a very
am.
low survival rate.
Yeah, it's just when you hear of somebody having an aortic aneurysm, they're generally not coming back from that.
Right. Right.
So,
right.
but anyway, about 20 months after surgery, I was like your friend. I was a brown belt for a really long time.
Yeah.
Had surgery, and 20 months after, I thought I was well enough. I got back into it,
Right.
trained, and got my black belt in 2018.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that was a lifelong accomplishment. Just like I think about it as a kid, just looking up and watching Bruce Lee and be like, man, I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To now, like being a black belt and something, just to have that accomplishment, that was quite an achievement.
Bruce Lee is amazing.
He is. Yes. I'm a little biased, but yes, he is.
I have to go back and rewatch some of the Bruce Lee movies because I literally haven't seen them since I was a kid. Like the thing that I watch that makes me think in awe of the old Kung Fu movies is Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yes.
That is so good because he did such a great job of homaging the Kung Fu theater. So it makes you want to go back and watch some more Kung Fu theater.
Yeah. And I think how many of us grew up seeing Kung Fu on Saturday afternoons? Like it was just always around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enter the Dragon and then like the parody. What was the parody called? Damn.
Oh, I forget, but I was a big fan of Jackie Chan too.
Jackie Chan. Yeah. My wife is from Japan. In love with Jackie Chan.
Everyone is.
He's amazing. He sort of
Actually,
made up the whole thing about no, you have to do your own stunts. Like when he does his own stunts, it's literally insane.
It is.
And
I read something.
Most of that stuff you can't even do in the States. Like you won't get the insurance to do that.
No, some of his movies he would film like in other countries and then film parts in the States.
Right. Right.
But he is the most famous movie star in the world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because he's so well known.
Right.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he speaks, English well enough, to be an American movie star, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And hilarious.
He is.
I like it though. Like he's just got no quit, right? Like I remember seeing this thing where it was like a lot of his American movies had like the outtake reel immediately after as the credits roll. And they're putting like improvised fashion boot that looks like a shoe. So he
Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah. So he can keep shooting it.
Yeah.
Because he fucking broke his ankle.
It's amazing.
I know. Crazy son of a bitch.
Yeah. But it just shows you like
grow up in like a circus performer kind of situation.
It was like a Chinese theater where they learned different things and
like
they would learn
acrobatics. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nuts.
Oh,
What a life that guy had. Wow.
Yeah. A lot of broken bones along the way too.
Yes. I can honestly say I've had the opposite of that life. I have never broken a bone ever in my life.
Well, see, we're twinning. I have never broken a bone either.
Well, you have a good reason, though.
I've had bones cracked open, but I've never actually broken a bone on my own.
Right. Yikes. Wow. Well, that's good. So, okay. So let's talk about like all the different times you almost died. Because I want to see if you got to talk to Elvis or something over there.
I didn't. Well, it's funny you say that. So there were 3 times. Right. My first surgery, 18 months old, I was given less than a 20% chance to live.
Wow.
And
but you don't have any memory of that.
No. It was very experimental at the time. And then when I was 14, I had surgery again when I had the mechanical valve put in my heart. And that surgery, I almost bled to death.
Okay.
And then this past surgery that I had when I was 40, like I mentioned, my aortic arch had burst and it was just chaos, mad dash
Sure.
to try and save my life.
Right.
But I will say this, I've never had any near-death experiences. I've read up on them quite extensively.
Okay.
The only thing I did have is it's called anesthesiology awareness. So during one of my surgeries,
Right.
I could feel picking at my chest and I could hear people talking.
Okay.
And when I told
But you didn't see anything, but you could.
didn't see anything.
Okay.
And I told the surgeon, they said, no, that's impossible. But I've since read up on it. And basically, when you're put under, you go down a certain level and you start to become conscious and they
Right.
put you back down again.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
what was happening is I was just getting close. So
Right.
I could hear talking.
Yeah.
I didn't feel pain, but I just felt like picking.
Yeah. It's almost like that space between sleep and wake.
Yes,
Where,
exactly.
Where you're kind of like thinking like, oh, this is a weird dream.
Yes.
And then you realize it's not a fucking dream. I've had this thing where I have an overactive vagus nerve. So
Okay.
that just means like, and my dad has it too. He figured that out way later than me, but I'm apt to pass out in weird and comical ways.
Are you like a narcoleptic?
No.
No.
No,
Just pat. You're like a human version of a fainting goat.
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So it started with I went through the inoculation line in basic training, where they hit you like on both sides, like there's a gun on both arms, and there's like 5 or 6 injections that you walk down. It's like this gauntlet of injections, and then they make you go sit down because a lot of people pass out after that.
Yeah. I would think so.
I was one of them. And then after that, it just kind of like blew into like a whole big needle phobia. But
We're twins.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We're fellow tymphanopobic. There's a term for it. I forget what it is.
Yeah. Needle phobia.
Yes.
Okay. So do you pass out on like flu shots?
When I was a kid, I would literally punch and kick nurses in the face to get away.
Wow.
Okay. And then over time, I've just kind of like conditioned myself to now I can actually watch an injection.
Okay.
I don't like it, but my heart's racing and it's terror, but at least I can control it.
You can do it. Yeah. So like I didn't have it as a kid at all. I didn't have any fear at all until after that thing in basic. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even a fear, right? I think like the next flu shot, I went and just went like, okay, I'll go get a flu shot. And I don't think I passed out, but I almost passed out, right? Wow. It's like I'm going to a regular old office. It's not even a clinic, right? And I walk in, they give me the shot, I walk away, right? And I'm like catching myself in the hallway. Wow. Woozy, and I'm like,
so is that what triggers it for you? Is just if needles or the thought of needles?
It's weird. It's weird because I found out that it's a definite thing that some people have. It seems like it's like some weird quirk with how your vagus nerve overreacts. It's like the vagus nerve is just trying to keep you out of trouble. And like 10 is let's just be unconscious because we don't like what's going on. And that's not necessarily a good strategy.
No.
In a lot of modern life, right? So yeah, I actually was getting ultrasound therapy on my shoulder once.
Okay.
And after I got the little like rubby on the shoulder with the ultrasound wand, then they gave me this ice cube. So I'm sitting there and I'm rubbing this ice in the clinic and we're laughing, we're BSing, and I passed out. So I thought, ice? Right? Turns out it wasn't the ice, it was the ultrasound. The doctor was so curious, the PT, she was like, why did you pass out? I'm like, it's not you. It's me. And she's like, yeah, but you passed out. So that means I've got to do a report and everything else. And so she dug into it and she was like, oh yeah, there's this small percentage of people with an overactive vagus nerve that sometimes you get like this ultrasound therapy, you can pass out. So
Wow.
it's one
That's
of these
wild.
things. Yeah. Smoking weed can make me pass out. So I have to be like
I don't think you're alone there.
extra careful on my dosing of weed. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, so we're gonna start wrapping up. But let's get some more good stories. So, on this last surgery, did you keep doing jiu-jitsu even at? Oh, you did. You answered that question already. Okay.
Yeah.
So how are you doing now? I mean,
So up until about 6 months ago, I was doing great.
Okay.
But I've been having some chest pain, and I'm just right now I'm in the process of just having things checked out, going through tests.
right.
But for me, this is very familiar territory. I'm not worried. It
Right.
may mean there's another surgery down the road. Don't know yet, but I look at it. It's familiar territory. This feels like the summer of 1990 to me all over again.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting to see once I have results and I
So
can wrap my head around what
You're
comes
kind of
next.
slowing down a little bit. You're feeling like you need
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not training at the moment.
Right.
I'm just strictly walking, and that's about it. So
Right. Yeah. You were talking about how you have to, one of your things that you do regardless is walk, right? It's one of the things that you
Yes.
can do and you have to, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I'm out there almost every day.
Right.
If I'm not training, I'm walking. And it's good for your body, but it's also good for this thing too, your brain.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like walking out in nature.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, like in Vegas, it's a challenge. We in the summertime, we spend a lot of time getting our steps in casinos. And yes, of course, it costs money.
Those are expensive steps.
They are. I try to minimize, but yes, there's money being spent there. But that's okay. You know, I also love walking in my neighborhood. We got like lots of hills, and I live in Vegas, but like people that don't live in the desert don't realize how beautiful the desert is until you get there. You know,
Yeah.
it takes a while to see it. You get here and you're like rocks and dirt. Who cares, right? Why would you want to live here, right? But it is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Western Canada, out in Saskatchewan,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
I understand that it's flat. Like you watch your dog run away for 3 days, but it's beautiful to me, right?
Yeah. I get it. Okay, flat. So where do you like to walk when you can walk in nature? Is it like a forest?
I'm like you, forest,
Yeah.
hills, hiking, any of that.
Yeah. Hills are really good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember saying to you, like, I just had this like new bout of leg pain. I don't know if you struggle with this or not, because you're probably close to my age. Usually I would say I'm fine, right? Like, yes, there's ordinary workout soreness after a workout. And then I would also have I like to sleep on my side. So like if like I sleep on one side too long, I'll wake up and go, "Oh, that hip hurts. Let's roll over." Right. But then it's gone when I'm not doing that. If that pain lingers, then that's an indication to me that I've got some work to do. Usually means I need to get new shoes.
Yeah.
First. Yeah. Because shoes only last so long, and I probably wore those guys out. Like, it's like 6 months to a year. So this time I was like, oh, I'm in a lot of pain and I haven't changed my shoes out. So I did, but then that pain lingered a really long time. So, right. Well, I did massage school. So I'm a really big, I liked using trigger point therapy.
Yes.
And like foam rollers.
Yep, I've done that. I do that.
Right. And yoga. So, yeah, that day that I emailed you, I had never, ever found pain in the front part of my ankles. So that's the tibialis anterior, right?
Interesting.
I've had really, really sore calves, sore feet, sore hips, sore everything. But that was the first time I started digging my fingers on the top of my ankles, and it was like a revelation. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. It's like you never stop learning.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've been like laid up for months on end, and you're sore just from laying around doing nothing.
Right.
I've done martial arts, and you get an armbar, you get choked, your body's sore.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be in pain from it.
Yeah, no, that to me, all of that counts as okay, good pain. That's okay, good pain.
Yeah.
That means that you're doing it right. No way to avoid that. Enjoy the endorphin. That's you're going to be really relaxed with that pain. Have a beer. You earned it, But this is like that pain that is different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny, this has been a blast, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a great conversation with you. And I got to learn. We're fellow nerds and we've got a lot in common.
Yeah, there you go. I have this project that I've been thinking about that might need an illustrator. Okay. And it's not a project to make money. So it would just be a thing where I guess I would be paying you for something I just want to see in the world.
Okay.
So that might
I'm intrigued.
happen. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so talk a little bit more about how people can find the book and your website.
Yeah. So my website is DannyCovey.com, DannyCovey.com.
Right.
My book is called Scar Tissue. It's available on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca or my website.
Right.
And then I'm pretty easy to find on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, what's the other ones? Twitter or X and Instagram. So yeah, I'm easy to find, and I've got a newsletter that people can subscribe to if they want.
This has been a blast. You've got a very chill vibe.
Well, I do try.
I get it. You've been practicing since birth.
Yeah.
Danny must chill.
Well, I just find there's so much of this like I can't control, but I can control how I respond to it. And that's what I choose to do.
Right. Good on you, Danny. This has been a blast. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
You have a good one.
All right.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.